You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
Welcome to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm Andrew Chia.
And I'm Eric Chong.
And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries.
Yes, our Durian main story today is the richest in Laos, Myanmar and Malaysia. But before that, let's look at our current business updates on the topic of the US elections. Okay, Andrew, what's your take on the US elections?
Hey, first of all, let's see what the US elections has got to do with us at ASEAN.
Right.
Nothing much, right?
Nothing much. Either way, whoever is the president.
Yeah, you're just being a busybody because this is the hottest topic currently, right?
But I think so. Looking at it, there are some effect will be done because of the TPPA, right? And it might not be favorable should who is ever.
Yeah, basically it's the TPPA, right? So let's hope the new president will abolish the TPPA or continue with it. Which would you like, Eric?
I would say the abolishment will be much more better.
Yeah, hard to say. Earlier, Hillary Clinton, she was strongly supporting the TPPA for many years. But recently, during the election, she says that it's no good. So people were hammering her left, right, and asked her, why you change your stand? So she said, earlier, I didn't know certain facts and information about this deal. Now I study it a bit more, and with the new information, I think this is not a good deal.
Yes, and looking at it, probably technology change, people mindset change over the years. And the TPPA, I think they have been talking about it for the past 10 years.
Yeah, basically they are trying to improve trade for the US, America
and,
itself.
10 years later, I think probably they found that China had caught up so much. So whatever TPPA that they incepted 10 years ago might not apply now.
Okay, great. Let's take a look at what is happening at the US elections. It's a very hot topic. Whole day on the CNN News, Bloomberg, and So basically in America, they have two political parties, right?
Yes, and we have the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah.
So
the Republicans, they also call the GOP the Grand Old Party.
It's simple enough. Their political party is simple enough.
Yeah.
Just two different objectives.
You choose A or B, that's all.
A or B, that's it. And just they have different people. And the old party, so-called the old party, the Republicans.
Who are the candidates?
They have many more candidates as compared to the Democrats. So first we have Jeb Bush. I don't know whether it's related to George Bush or not.
Yeah, the brother of George Bush and the son of the previous George Bush.
So the Bush family looks like they are going to
try to extend their empire.
The dynasty.
Right.
Heading in like the Kennedy dynasty.
But looks like so far Jeb Bush has not been doing well.
And looking at it, he does not have much popularity as well.
Yeah, compared to the other guys, the most notable one is of course
Donald Trump.
Mr. Donald Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, watch your words.
One day he might be the US president.
Then he comes back to you once he becomes president. Then we have Dr. Ben Carson. Right. So these are some.
Ben Carson recently is not very doing well also. He says that he's a liar, he's a cheater, and he's not honest and things like that. So his ratings and rankings have gone down a bit.
And to stand for candidates as the US president is no joke. Because
it's very tough.
They will dig your background right down to your H1.
Yeah, and unlike in certain countries like Malaysia or other countries in ASEAN.
What your past doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. What I'm trying to say is that they actually have debates to tell where the whole population can grill you and ask you what do you think about this issue, that issue, immigrants, abortion, gay rights, and all sorts of things.
All sorts of things that will come
right
up.
Over here, we don't have much of that, okay? So and it's more of bullshit, for certain countries.
Here we don't need any debates because the ruling party dictates. So there's no debate.
Eric, please clarify. Here means ASEAN. Not all the countries in ASEAN are the same,
I would say most ASEAN countries.
Say, for example, Singapore. Singapore is more
It's an exception.
Yeah, they actually have debates.
They
where
have
people get to
debates
know
and,
what you think as a candidate.
They actually practice certain level of democracy.
A very much higher democracy level than
Certain level
other countries,
higher,
right?
slightly higher demography.
Okay, let's get back to the US Republican candidates. Who else besides Jeb
We have,
Bush and Ben Carson?
Yes, and then we have Senator Marco Rubio.
Yeah. Not doing so well. And
Not doing
Governor
so well.
John Kasich also, I think, will be out of the race.
Yes.
Leaving the two strongest right now is Mr. Donald Trump
Okay.
and Senator Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz.
Mm.
So these are the two more notable Republicans candidates.
Right now, maybe Donald is having a very slight lead over Ted Cruz, right?
Yeah, looking at the popularity, yes.
So these two guys are good friends, and they team up to kick all the others out in the preliminaries.
And looking at the list of Republicans candidates, only Donald Trump is the businessman.
Yes, and
so whether he will be
he's aggressive businessman.
whether he will be governing US in a business manner.
Yeah, more pro-business, hopefully.
If
We are not sure yet whether he can
Okay.
actually make it to be the president. Okay.
Well,
but
let's
if
wait
and
see.
when,
Just a few more months.
yeah.
Okay.
So right now it's left to Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, and because of that, he is attacking Ted Cruz very hard now, saying that you are
Yes.
not born on this land, you are not qualified to stand for
So
president.
now he's digging the roots of the candidates. Okay, whether they are immigrants, but looking at it, the whole of US are immigrants.
All of us, only the Orang Asli or the Aborigines, they are the
They
actual
are the
people.
natives.
Yeah, right.
Then
So-
we have the Democratic candidates. Democrats, there's only two candidates: Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders.
Right. Looks like Bernie Sanders is having a slight lead over Hillary right now.
Because but the earlier periods, Hillary is getting
Yeah,
much
she's
more
one
higher.
tough lady, you know.
Yes, and after being through so many years, and she's still fighting for it.
Yeah.
So let's look at it. Maybe these elections, you can see that some changes in the world, so-called world leaders.
Yeah.
We
So,
can actually see.
Eric, which would you prefer, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders?
I would say I would prefer Hillary Clinton.
You always choose girl lah.
Not really, because it's sometimes it's best to have a change in so-called gender in the.
Yeah,
ruling
I actually
country.
prefer Hillary Clinton because I think she's a smart lady and having a smart husband, equally smart husband.
Yes,
okay.
that's true.
So I posted on my Facebook, I say I like Hillary Clinton, and some of my friends told me, hey, Andrew, Hillary Clinton is a habitual liar. You should not like her. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, all politicians
All
lie.
politicians are habitual liars. Sorry,
Don't say all lie, Eric.
most are.
Let's say for every politician who is not a liar, there are another probably 10 out there who are liars.
1:10 ratio. Okay, politicians who are listening to our stations. Okay, we have to be very careful with it.
Actually, that is the perception, not our perception. Generally, people believe
I would
that.
say it's a general perceptions around the world that people perceive politicians as liars, as cheaters.
Who are these politician guys who give the bad image?
But sad to say, these politicians, how they become politicians is also they have been voted in by the general public.
Yes.
I mean, if the general public felt that their candidate is a liar, why vote for them in the first place?
Right.
Okay, so in this sense, who is a greater liar or a greater hypocrite?
The greatest liars will be the president of any country.
Yes,
Okay.
that's true.
So what happens if Donald Trump becomes president? First thing, he will stop immigrants coming into the US.
Is that possible or not?
That is very drastic. A lot of people don't like him for that, but judging from his popularity, a lot of people actually agree with his stand.
Yeah, I would say that the Americans, the native Americans, would totally agree to his notions of stopping immigrants from coming into the
Yeah,
US.
he says, if you can think of a better suggestion, please say so. He says, I can't think of anything else except as a emergency stopgap measure. Stop all the immigrants from coming in first, and give us some time to think how to solve this problem. Okay.
And we can see the problem with immigrants or refugees happenings around the world.
Yeah.
Where we can see certain refugees are actually causing a lot
Right,
of
take a
problem.
look at Europe, for example, isn't it? Germany.
Germany, they have been accepting a lot of immigrants.
Then you have a lot of
Then
cases
a lot
of
cases
rape
of
and
social problems arising. And we have seen France also accepting a lot of immigrants.
You have problems a lot of
we
places.
see UK also having a lot of immigrants and having a lot of problems with the immigrants. And now certain countries are accepting refugee.
Yeah, certain countries in Asia, Japan, for example, does not accept. They reject 99% of the refugees.
Yes.
So
in
they
a
are
way-
worried, probably.
In a way, they are protecting their own self, but can't help it because it's their own country.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to take the risk of accepting so-called infiltrations through the
Right.
so-called influx of refugees.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of things there's pros and cons, right? For example, the Pope is a very merciful man. He really sympathizes with the people who are suffering from the war, and he says, okay lah, give them some chance, accept them, give them a new lease of life, But Donald Trump says that the Pope does not actually understand the problem, So
I would say maybe Donald Trump is looking at a businessman's point of view.
yeah, definitely.
Yes, and when he actually sees things in the different angle, the beneficial angle and the so-called economic value angle.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, whoever is the president, I believe he or she will be friendly to ASEAN. All the ASEAN countries here, they don't have any issues with us. Probably they have only issue with North Korea.
And it's have been a norm that the ASEAN countries or the Asian countries always welcome US with open arms.
Yeah, we do a lot of business with them,
Yes.
and they so kind of
Then-
like us.
Then we can see that Hillary Clinton now thinks that the TPPA is no good.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier.
Which we
So
mentioned
hopefully, if she becomes the president, she will sort of abolish it, or tone it down, or something like that.
Or maybe just KIV the whole agreement
Yeah.
until the next president comes in and
Yeah.
review the whole agreement again.
Yes, and talking about businessman, this Donald guy, he doesn't seem to like China very much, right? It seems to him all the problems of America are started by China.
In a way, I would say that a lot of Westerners doesn't really like China.
I mean, we at ASEAN, we do a lot of business with China, and China is sort of our big brother, taking care of us and doing business over here. So let's hope the next US president will be good friends with China, and the world will be a better place. Everybody makes money, right?
Yes, and looking at it, Donald is also attacking his very good friend Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
You know?
So probably his tactic was he teamed up with Ted Cruz to kill all the other candidates first, leaving Ted Cruz, which is a very easy target. It seems that he has a hold on Ted Cruz, meaning that this guy is not born in US. I can easily just tell
squeeze
everybody he is automatically disqualified. Then he will be the champion and the sole representative of the Republicans.
So now he got to dig back the origin of Ted Cruz.
Yeah, but looks like Ted Cruz is putting up a strong challenge, and it says that it's not so easy to displace him. He's right now very strong and perceived by a lot of people as a clean and honest guy, right?
Well, let's Donald as a close friend to Ted Cruz dig out some of the dirt during their party time.
Actually, it's not so much that basic issue is that he is not born in America, Canadian or something like that.
Well, I mean, if he's not born in U.S., probably, but he's have his own citizenship, so he's still accepted as an American. Well, that's it.
Yeah, he can be definitely an American, but he cannot stand for president simply because of that fact. So let's see whether Donald is right or not.
Okay, then looking forward, ASEAN has been, as we mentioned earlier, ASEAN has been very friendly with the US. So whoever is the president, there's not much difference that it can affect ASEAN. But should Hillary Clinton win, and when she KIV the TPPA, then it's a different story.
Yeah, I think Hillary is more friendly towards China and ASEAN.
He's more friendly because like TPPA actually affects some of the ASEAN countries, not all. Then we can see. We wait and see. We can't speculate.
Yes, guys. That's all for our current business update this morning. And we'll be back shortly with more interesting updates on ASEAN. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, folks. Before we bring on our main story for this edition, Eric is going to share with us his funny business moment. And the title of his story today is, What a Bad Day.
There was this guy at the bar just looking at his drink. He stays like that for half an hour. Then a big troublemaking truck driver comes up next to him, snatches the drink from the guy and drank it all down in one gulp. The poor man started crying. The truck driver says, "Come on, man, I was just joking. Here, I will buy you another drink. I just can't stand to see a man crying." "No, it's not that," the man replied, wiping his tears. "Today is the worst day of my life. First I overslept, then I went in to the office late. My boss got angry and fired me. When I left the building to my car, I found out that it was stolen. The police say that they can do nothing about it. I get into a cab to go home. When I got out, I remember I left my wallet in the cab, and the cab has just left. Then when I went inside my house to find my wife in bed with the gardener.
Oh.
I left the house, come to this bar, and just when I was thinking to put an end to my life, you showed up and drank my poison."
Okay, thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Welcome back to the show, guys. You are listening to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Chia, and together with me is Eric Chong, and we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries.
The title of our durian main story today is The Richest in Laos, Myanmar and Malaysia. And
yes,
Andrew,
Eric.
I believe that in the past two episodes, we've been talking about richest man in the ASEAN countries.
Yes, we promise our listeners not to leave out any country because some of the countries didn't make it to the first top 20 list of richest people in ASEAN.
And
so
we are continuing the series with ASEAN Richest. So today we will bring you
three
the
countries.
richest man from Laos, Myanmar and Malaysia.
Okay, let's start with Laos. Who is the richest man in Laos, Eric?
Well, I leave it to you, Andrew. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, some countries, they have these guys with names that are difficult to pronounce. But this sounds not too bad, Eric. There are some Thai names which are more difficult to pronounce. Yes, guys, the richest man in Laos is a guy by the name of Kamtai Sipandon.
And he was born in 8 February 1924. Wow.
Quite old guy.
Quite old, which means that now he should be
Almost
about 92.
92 already.
92 already.
Yeah.
And still kicking. Okay, but he's the president of Laos since 1998 to 2006.
And his net worth is estimated at between 800 million to about 900 million US dollars.
Not too much, isn't it, as compared to one donations?
Come on, Eric, please. Stop that donation thing. It's only in Malaysia. Net worth is almost $1 billion. That means it's not accepted into the billionaires club yet. Okay, but being the richest man in Laos, he's still a very rich man.
Still a very rich man,
Okay.
and being such a low cost of living country, having 800 million US dollars is quite a substantial amount. Okay, and his main source of wealth is from the country. It's not known what actual business he was involved in, except that he's the leader of the country of Laos.
Yes. Probably, Eric, Laos is not such a famous country. You can't find much information, even on the internet, about other richer people, So, for the time being, Kamtai Sipandon is the richest man.
Looking at it, Laos is mainly agricultural based.
Yes.
So, I would say that his riches probably is coming from the land and the agriculture produce.
Yes, that's why if the country is not so rich, he can't make that much money also, right?
And beside him, we really can't find who are the next richest man in Laos anymore.
Okay, great.
Probably
So-
there are more, but we wouldn't know.
Yes. So for us, Kamtai Sipamdon is the richest man in Laos. Let's move on to Myanmar, another country that's not so rich in ASEAN, but it's a beautiful country. They plant paddy, right?
Paddy,
And rice.
the main
And
producer is paddy.
mainly also is agricultural country.
Agricultural country, and also export immigrants.
Immigrants,
Export
they are
labor.
very hardworking labor
Hardworking labor.
country. Yes, because they are not so rich, so their citizens go and make some money in other countries like Malaysia.
And send back the money to their country.
So basically, they are very hardworking and they are not troublemakers. Even though in Malaysia there are a few cases where they get involved in fights and even some casualties involved.
And I believe there are still quite a number of areas in Myanmar which is considered as a high security areas.
Yes. So Myanmar is not so rich in natural resources, but they are famous for teak wood.
Teak wood and rubies.
teak wood and rubies. Very
precious
expensive
stones.
teak wood. Cost maybe about $400-500 per ton, right?
More than that, it close to $2,000 per ton.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought 2,000 Malaysian ringgit per ton.
No, not really. It's
So
very costly
expensive.
now.
Oh.
Especially all this old teak is very costly now.
That's why this guy by the name of Mr. Teza, he makes so much money. Part of it is from the teak wood in the country. He's the richest man in Myanmar, Mr. Teza. And
he's-
young man.
Young man, he's born in 18 July 1964, which makes him about 52 years old at this moment. And he born in the Rangoon, the main capital of Burma or Myanmar. And he's the chairman of this H2 group.
Hitu Group.
H2 group.
Let's hope the pronunciation is correct. Hitu Group.
H2 group.
And he's a billionaire.
With
Hey.
a net worth of $1.2 billion.
He's probably the only billionaire in Myanmar.
Looking at the picture, it is true.
So his business involves the Hitu Group. In 2006 and 2007, the Hitu Trading, a division of that holdings company involved in teak wood log exports, was Burma's top private exporter and fifth largest overall, with gross revenues of $65 million. And he began his career in the 80s and started the Hitu Group in the early 90s to extract timber from Burma's forests.
And I believe that Burma being such a so-called closed country, there's not much of logging activities or not much of so-called illegal logging activities.
I believe in that country, if you are good friends with the king or the generals, you will have certain privileges to do some business, right?
That's true.
That's true for not only Myanmar, in many countries.
In many countries, as long as you are close to the leader of the country, your opportunity is always there.
Right, yes.
The next thing is how you do your PR work with the leaders.
So, Eric, besides timber, what else does Mr. Teza do? What other business is he involved in?
Besides that, he's also operates a fully privately owned airline.
Airline.
Called Air Bangga.
Air Bagan.
Bagan.
Oh, okay.
Right. This is the country first and only privately owned airline.
He owns the whole airline.
He owns the whole airline. And what's the size of his fleet? We wouldn't know. So for a person who can own a private airline company, it's no joke. Whether he have a fleet of 5 or 10
I believe one
airplanes,
day if we want to fly to Myanmar, probably we'll use his airline.
probably for the domestic flight.
Yeah.
And he have other activities including construction, tourism, infrastructure projects, and mobile phone services.
That's how he makes quite a lot of money, right?
These are the main infrastructures projects, so-called infrastructure requirement for a country to grow.
Right.
Especially when you look at the mobile phone services. Nowadays, practically the mobile phone line is 1:1.
Communication is so important, and if you actually own a mobile phone company, I believe you can make tons of money, right?
Yes, that's
And
true.
besides that, he is also involved in banking business, and he set up the Asia Green Development Bank when a license was granted by the military junta in 2010, before giving up his power after general election. So a lot of people accuse him of rubbing
Shoulders with
generals and all that,
and probably he's fronting the so-called money laundering system with the bank
yes.
systems.
And his bank was sanctioned by the US government soon after it was established. But later in 2013, the sanction list removed his bank, and he was not sanctioned anymore. So they accused him of rubbing shoulders and cronyism and whatnot. So his response was that everybody does that.
Everybody does that.
Which is true.
It's
In
true.
many countries, if you are good friends with the leaders or the politicians, you can make a lot of money.
Yes, and most of the times, those who rub shoulders with the leaders, either one way they are related to the financial industries. How is it going about? What's the mechanism? We wouldn't know. We wouldn't want to speculate on it.
Yeah, and he even accused back the US government of having certain business in Myanmar that are also involved in some kind of friendship with the leaders and things like that. So you don't accuse me, Eric. You are doing the same thing.
You are the same thing. And in a way, we look at it generally. Who is not doing it?
Yeah, as long as it makes money. So being a closed country, like you mentioned, most people would be shy away from the media and things like that. But Mr. Teza is very bold. He wants the whole world to know that he's the richest man in Myanmar, and he's a billionaire.
Yes.
Okay, you're the first billionaire in the country, man. Come on. Okay.
And
Give me some chance.
You are among the richest among all the citizens that are.
Who knows if anybody from other parts of the country knows that he wants to do business, they might make friends with him and propose business deals and make him even much more richer.
There will be other Burmese who are more enterprising, will approach him with some enterprising business, and he can actually bring the country up.
Yeah,
with his kind of resources and contacts, right? And we have done Laos and Myanmar, and we will take a short break and be back with our story shortly for our next country. So stay tuned, guys. Don't go away.
Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is the richest in Laos, Myanmar and Malaysia. But before we continue with the concluding part of our story today, Eric will give us a quick health tip. Eric is our health and fitness coach, and he runs the 100-kilometer marathon himself. His health tip story for today is picking yourself up.
Thanks, Andrew. And we always have a exercise routine, Andrew. Most of the time, along the way, we will lose interest, we will lose the motivations.
Let's put it this way, Eric. The television is more attractive than the racetrack.
Yeah, and also doing bicep curls. You just lift up the mark.
Yeah, for potato chips.
Potato chips. It's normal to encounter both victories and setbacks on the road to fitness. As you continue with your fitness routine, you may find it challenging to keep up your motivations. Sometimes the benefit of exercise are not readily apparent when you're reluctant to get out of bed in the morning or itching to go home after work.
Yeah.
But the benefit of moving more is just as real now as when you began your fitness journey. Don't fret if you miss a few days in your routine or don't hit your goals as quickly as you expected. Being able to get back on track is a sure sign that physical activities has become a long-term habit. If you've fallen out of steps, lace up your shoes back up this week and get moving. Get motivated by thinking about your fitness victories and remind yourself that this was only a temporary setback. Place a note on your alarm clock, dashboard or desk. Wherever you are, when you are most tempted to skip your workout, use it to focus on your goals and your commitment. So stay committed. It's possible that once a while, even for myself, once a while I will feel lazy. But when you look back on it, what's the goal you have set? It have not been achieved yet, so you won't be lazy again. So
okay.
it's fine, especially during the festive season, that you miss out your workout for a few days. But as long as you knows that you missed it out, then you can carry back.
Yeah, especially the Chinese New Year season. So usually people exercise the muscles of their jaws more than their muscles on the legs, right?
And the intestines.
Yeah. You know, talking about that, we have this CIA joke going around on WhatsApp. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have got that joke also. And they have actually gone to do a survey in China and found that China is in very, very big problem. All the factories and shops have shut down. And the children are going around asking for money. Okay. So there was a report from CIA. And somebody actually pointed out that it's Chinese New Year season. You stupid.
So they're not asking for money, they're asking for angbao.
Yes. So this Chinese New Year season, let's hope everybody get back on their feet and start
running,
back
start
on
your
your
routine.
fitness routine. Yes. And your work routine.
And it's all start with small steps. So just take a baby steps and carry on with bigger steps.
Yes. Remember to motivate yourself. You are your own best motivator.
Yes.
A healthy body will let us work better, right?
That's true. And
make more money.
You won't fall sick so easily, and you will have more productive days.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Eric, for that useful health tip. Let's continue with our main story today. That is the richest man in Laos, Myanmar and Malaysia.
So
we have covered Laos and Myanmar.
Now we comes to Malaysia. So I believe that most of us have be able to guess who's the richest man in Malaysia, which is Robert Kwok.
Yeah, for many years, Robert Kwok is not only the richest man in Malaysia, but he's the richest man in ASEAN, the whole of Southeast Asia.
And also the top 10 richest man in the world.
Haven't yet.
Haven't yet?
Yeah, Li Ka-shing has made it, but Robert Kwok has not yet.
Okay.
Let's hope he'll make it.
Quite close.
But it seems like we have a friend from Thailand who recently displaced Robert Kwok as the richest man in Southeast Asia. So both of them are neck to neck, almost as rich lah.
Okay.
So how rich they are, Eric?
Well, looking at it,
according to Forbes estimate about
is about 10 billion US dollars.
But Bloomberg estimates him a bit higher.
As 17 billion. Probably Bloomberg is looking at his shareholdings value. Okay. And also the increase in his properties holdings.
How old is Robert Kwok right now?
Okay, he's actually 93 years old now.
Wow.
And still very active and very healthy. Kicking.
He's not Alzheimer, dementia or senile, right? He's still very alert. And very healthy.
Very healthy. And he's actually born in Johor, Malaysia.
Yeah, I thought they said people born in China live longer. It seems that people born in Johor also lives quite long, right?
Maybe those days they are coming from the immigrants.
The father was an immigrant from China, Fujian province.
Okay, so he still have the so-called origin of the China. And but currently he's residing in Hong Kong.
Yes. It seems that he goes down to his Shangri-La hotel very often, and the customers can meet him.
Yeah, why not? Well, I mean, in Hong Kong, the Shangri-La hotel is considered one of the top hotels in Hong Kong.
Belongs to him.
It
hey,
belongs
Eric,
to him.
When will we have a hotel that actually belongs to us?
Soon. Okay, then we'll call it the ASEAN BIZ hotel.
That's something to look forward to. So what is Robert Kwok famous for?
He's actually famous for the title as a Sugar King.
Yes, Sugar King. Everybody knows Robert Kwok as a Sugar King.
His main business, which is still his main business, that is sugar, which are actually a very prized commodities around the world, where almost everyone consumes sugar.
Yeah, but right now, Eric, his biggest source of wealth today is not sugar, it's oil palm. And his wealth is at the stake of Wilmar International. So looks like oil palm is even more lucrative than sugar, even though he still owns lots of sugar plantations, right?
And probably a combination of both will make him more powerful and more
Oh,
much
definitely.
more stronger.
Not only that, imagine all the other businesses that he actually owns and he involved in, you know.
So looking at it, his main concentration is on the food side, food commodities, I would say. You know,
Yeah.
and flour is also one of the commodities.
Yes,
and he
yes.
actually owns a number of
famous flour
milling,
mill.
flour mills, and even animal feed and oil, which is palm oil. Yeah. So these are the things that which we call
he's
it
also involved in mining, right?
food commodities. And he's also involved with finances,
Yeah, money business.
money.
He actually owns insurance company, right? Journey, is it owned by
Journey
him, right?
owned by him.
Yeah,
and,
insurance is a very good business.
very good business.
Every year, the customers will line up at your doorstep to renew their
to
insurance,
give you
right?
money.
Yeah, what a wonderful business where you
And
have renewal every year, right?
He have hotels.
Yeah, Shangri-La
As
is
we
a
mentioned,
famous.
Shangri-La belongs to him. So, and he's also have numerous properties.
Yes, the leisure mall in Cheras in Malaysia belongs to him. That's
And I believe that a
shopping center.
lot of people does not know about it.
yeah.
Because he kept quite a low profile.
Yeah,
of
Robert
what
Koch
he
is a very low profile guy. He doesn't tell everybody, look, see how rich I am, you know.
That's mine. No,
Yeah.
he actually didn't do that.
He
So
keeps
he
quiet
just keep
about it.
quiet about it and make his money quietly.
Yes, and you can see that most of his businesses are what they call it, very low key and not so high profile.
Low key and all on a general public
Yeah,
basis.
things that everybody use every day. You know, things like hotels,
Hotels and
animal
trading,
feed, oil.
trading. You know, then you have freight, which is inclusive of logistics and publishing house, even publishings.
Yeah, so he doesn't actually talk a lot about himself. He's very low profile. You can't find much about Mr. Robert Koch even on the internet. But he actually mentioned this. His mother told him to be involved in good businesses and not to involve in things like gambling, prostitution,
vices,
dealing with arms and weapons and stuff like that. You know, so the mother told the son, okay, stay away from these businesses. Perhaps let somebody else do all those businesses.
The businesses.
You do all the good business. Even though sugar cane and can actually cause diabetes, but of course nobody asks you to eat so much, right?
Yes, and it's actually he just put in some flavor to your food. That's all.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
And
a
people
flavoring, not for you to.
People got addicted to it and keep on chasing for the sweetness of the sugar.
Yeah, so you can't blame Robert Koch if you get diabetes, please.
Okay. So I would say diabetes, especially type 2, is a so-called lifestyle sickness.
Yes,
You know, it's nothing to do with inheritance. It's
you
more
reduce
about the
your
lifestyle.
sugar consumption.
Yeah. Then he actually has students from Raffles Institutions and English College of Johor Bahru. So he actually graduated so-called locally.
Yeah, being an old man at 93, we have some stories about actually how he started off on his way to become the richest man in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, he claims that he began his business as an office boy and later started a business with relative support.
Start from bottom.
Start from the bottom as an office boy. Upon graduation, he works as a clerk in the rice trading department of Japanese industry conglomerate called Mitsubishi Shoji Kaisa
Yes,
between
in the 40s.
1942 and 1945.
That
That's
was during the
World
World
War
War.
And that time the Japanese was very strong.
And that was in Singapore, very near to Johor Bahru where he was
Johor
born.
Bahru. In fact, that time Singapore also considered part of Malaysia.
Right,
Or
Malaya.
Malaya
Yes.
at that time. And it's still, you don't actually need a passport to go to Singapore. Do we need to? During the
Those
Second
days,
World
no.
War? No passport, isn't it?
Yes.
And with the help of the Japanese military unit monopolizing the rice trade
Yeah, he monopolized the rice trade
in
in
Malaya
Malaya.
during the occupation period, he was soon promoted to head the rice trading department. After the war, he took the skill he learned from the Japanese back to the family business in Johor.
And that's how he started to become very rich.
Very rich in trading in
He polished his business skills.
commodities. Those days, the rice is still a commodities. So when you look at his portfolios, Andrew, he's actually dealing in more in general commodities.
Yeah,
the
that's how it
foodstuff.
started off.
And those things actually moved by the volumes,
Mm.
big volumes.
So, being a richest man in Southeast Asia, maybe it's good for us to learn a thing or two from him. Do we have any quotes from Robert Kwok that we can get some wisdom to share with all our audience?
It can be quite deep and need some understanding. What Robert Koch quoted is this.
One of his quotes.
One of his quotes. Wealth should be used for two main purposes. One, for the generation of greater wealth. In other words, you continue to invest, creating prosperity and jobs in the country.
That means number one is to make more money using the money. So
more
there are only
jobs
two uses for money.
create
Can
more
you imagine?
jobs opportunity for the countries.
Yes.
And number two, part of your wealth should be applied to the betterment of mankind, either by act of pure philanthropy or by investment in research and development along the frontiers of science, space, healthcare, and so forth. So looking at his so-called attitude towards
His philosophy.
business and philosophy to love business, he always looking at the well-being of the environment and the general public.
Right.
So that's why you can see that his investment portfolio is always for the general masses, and not so practically we don't see any vices in his portfolio.
Right, yeah. It's all good, especially if you summarize is the first thing is use your money to make more money. Number two is donate all your money.
So
it's talking about donation, Eric.
So this actually looks like a very good portfolio for those who are very religious and still want to invest.
Yeah,
so
doing something
religiously invested
donate.
money. So those religious group can actually invest in his portfolio because it's not related to any vices.
Yes, no gambling, no cigarettes, no liquor, no prostitution. So good guy.
Good guy, consider good rich man.
Yes. So his philosophy of wealth is so simple. Just two things. Okay, use your money to make more money. And after you make so much money,
give it back to
donate.
the society.
Okay, that's why donation is very important.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
So when you receive a big donations, it's normal.
What do you mean by big?
Well,
2 point. Okay. All right, folks.
Leave it to your imaginations.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, and we hope that you have enjoyed our show. We'll be back with a brand new story for our Durian May show on ASEAN Biz in the next edition. Bye for now.
Durian ASEAN is your #1 radio station for anything and everything concerning ASEAN. Since Malaysia is the chairman of ASEAN 2015, that makes it even more important for us to know the significance of ASEAN. Our daily breakfast show, the ASEAN Breakfast Call, is dedicated to raising awareness on ASEAN. Let's go through our breakfast show.
ASEAN Daily happens every Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning, with at least 3 cups of coffee. We discuss, critique, and provide a concise background to the issues that are discussed. Want to know what's brewing in ASEAN? Tune into ASEAN Daily.
Monday Morning Matters is solely dedicated to ASEAN issues. Want to know more about the 10 member states? What is the AEC? What is its aim and purposes? We have all the answers for you.
The Durian Hit runs from Tuesday to Thursday at 9 a.m. We analyze hot relevant topics concerning Malaysia or Southeast Asia. We also do invite some experts and drill them on the matter, leaving no stone unturned. Topics range from politics, economic, business, and other important areas.
Anything can happen Friday. ASEAN is rich in art, history, tradition, and culture. So we explore the social-cultural part of Southeast Asia. Expect to hear from musicians, theatre practitioners, fashion designers, and lifestyle experts providing their insights on the topic. To listen to all our programs, just log on to www.durianasean.com. You can download the TuneIn app on your smartphone. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or subscribe to our YouTube channel.